Much of the news coming out of the auto industry for the past few years has been, well, bad. Declining sales, massive recalls, etc. Not even the strongest of brands and dealerships have been unscathed. Case in point, here in Connecticut, Alderman Motors in Meriden was on the blocks. A few months ago, General Motors notified them that despite 86 years of service, they were slated to lose their GM affiliation. But the Platt family didn't take it lying down. They organized, they contacted their congressional representatives, they collected signatures, and just this week, almost a year to the day that GM went belly up, Alderman Motors has been saved. Here now to share their survival story are Scott and Kathy Platt. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Tell me, first of all, Scott, if you would, a little bit about Alderman Motors and why it was that when you got the notification, you were pretty shocked.
Well, we had been a dealership in the Connecticut area for 86 years. It was started by my grandfather, Louis Alderman, and we were really surprised because we had been in business such a long time. We always had a good rapport with General Motors, and we felt like, hey, when we got wind of this, there had to be some kind of a mistake.
Because you not only had a good rapport, but you were doing well.
Yeah, we were doing well, especially in the current economy, and like I said, we had a lot of long-time customers that were also sad to see us go, and we immediately started to contact our congressional leaders and get some petitions going, and we had close to 2,000 signatures in a real short amount of time. And when we, after we did that, and we contacted Attorney General Blumenthal and Senators Lieberman and Dodd and Congressman Murphy, and we said, hey, we've got all these people that want us to say something, stay here, something's wrong here. And, fortunately, it worked out for us.
Right. So tell me, aren't there some people, though, who might say, I don't know, like Burger King isn't doing well, it shuts down some Burger Kings, and...
Well, that's the difference with us because General Motors had some congressional hearings. The Congress people wanted to know what was going on with dealerships all across the country that they were getting complaints from their dealers in their districts. So they had congressional hearings last summer, and GM said, hey, this is the criteria that we used. And what we found out when we got a copy of the criteria from Congressman Murphy was, hey, there's a mistake here. We don't fall into this. We far exceeded the threshold for remaining a General Motors dealership. So we felt like there just had to be some kind of an error there.
So how close do you think that you came to actually being closed down? I mean, did you think they're going to get the message, they're going to hear us, or?
Well, we were hoping so. And,
when you take on General Motors, you must be like, oh my gosh, I'm taking on General Motors.
Right, absolutely. We just stuck it out as long as we could, and we're going to keep going. And our idea was we're going to stay here as long as we can and hope something good happens. And when these people got behind us, the senators and Attorney General Blumenthal and Congressman Murphy, they looked at everything. They looked at the data and they said, hey, we got to do something here. We got a chance to save some great jobs. This is a long-standing family business here in Connecticut, and we're going to do something about it.
Yeah, Kathy, if you could talk about what do you think that the effect would have been had you all been shut down?
Well, I think that was the key. We employed 20 employees, most of whom have been with us for over 10 and 15, 20, 30, 40 years. So I think that was what pulled everybody in. We had exceeded General Motors criteria. We've employed 20 employees. That would have been a loss to the state. That was our goal. We didn't want to lay anybody off, which we were fortunate in a year we didn't have to do. And we certainly didn't want to close down. So that was our goal.
So let me kind of put you on the spot, because I know you did just listen to the Ned Lamont conversation. When you hear these candidates talking about trying to save jobs, trying to help small businesses, what are some things that you think, well, they could do this to help us? We're a small business. What are some things?
Well, I think that's where actually our congressional leaders, our city officials, our Chamber of Commerce, they all stepped up to the plate when we asked. Scott was a little concerned into going to some of them. He said, I don't know, whether we should ask. And when we asked, they said, what can we do? And we said, we need you to write some letters. We need you to make some phone calls. We need you to help us out and tell these people this is wrong. This is a good dealer, a good person in the community, and we need to keep them. As well as we're providing a significant tax base to the state.
Right, absolutely, and to Meriden, which has had some tough times. How is the industry doing now, the auto industry in general? I mean, people buying cars, or?
Yeah, they are. It's been a little bit tough because our inventory is just starting to flow in now, but yeah, they have been coming back in. We're getting a lot of people looking again. GM just had some great sales numbers last month, Cadillac in particular, so we're really looking forward to providing many more years of service, and we've got great products. We get the customers in, we'll be able to do our job. So.
Right. So how soon do you think you might be back to the numbers that you were, I don't know, a few years ago? Do you think you'll ever be back to those numbers? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think hopefully, as we move forward here, I think within the next year or two, we'll be back up and running and ready to go.
Right. Excellent. All right. Well, I appreciate you all coming in, sharing a personal story. It's been, obviously a national, international story, and to put a personal, local face on it really helps.
Oh, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Up ahead, the UConn men's basketball team is in trouble, and not on the court. We're going to talk about the NCAA allegations of recruiting violations.